Did you know the lowest temperature ever recorded on Bonaire is 19 degrees Celsius? And the average temperature here during the day is 30 degrees Celsius. Hello guys, welcome to Kralendijk, the capital of Bonaire. It's another absolutely brilliant day in the Caribbean. So let's go and explore a little bit of this island and its magic and its very quaint and tiny capital. And just walking through a residential neighborhood here. So to get to the town center, I've been told to walk in this direction. The island is not much smaller than Curaçao, so it's the second biggest of the ABC islands, but it's got by far the least number of people. And all of the ABC islands share a similar, although not entirely identical, history. So, as was the case in Aruba and in Curaçao, you've had the Spanish, then the Dutch, a brief period of British rule during the Napoleonic Wars, and then the Dutch again. But wow, just look at the color of the water there. Look at the different shades of blue, the turquoise and the darker blue. And I bet they are happy about their location right next to a beautiful, beautiful part of the world here. And listen to the birds and the water. Oh, this is absolutely lovely. And look at that surprise around this corner, a little pier and some boats. Oh, and a bit of a view there of Kralendijk and a very small beach. A few rocks around, but just about enough space for me to go and lie down and have a tan later. Work on my tan lines. Yeah, gosh, just look at this. The Caribbean at its best. And Bonaire is very focused on sustainable tourism. So I mentioned in my previous vlog I had to pay a tourist tax of $75 to come and visit. Main contributors to the economy here are obviously tourism, but also salt. So the island has a lot of salt pans. So you've had the Dutch West Indian Company, which was founded in the 17th century. They were settling here in Bonaire to make use of the salt pans and to produce salt. And I'm sure maybe they also went for a bit of a dip. And I have to say, they can be very proud of their nature here in Bonaire. A much more laid back island than Aruba and Curaçao. You definitely come to Bonaire to relax. The snorkeling and the scuba diving. And I, on my limited budget, might just come for a nice tan later. Yeah guys, I can stay here for hours and hours, but I think let's go to the town and see what the town of Kralendijk, the capital of Bonaire, holds. And of course we'll have to go back here through the residential area. Some lizards. And yeah, you would have heard Lucy, the taxi driver, explain that they eat lizards in stews and soups here on the island. I'm not sure if I'll be trying that, to be honest. And also a very dry climate, as was the case in Aruba and Curaçao. And I've read actually that of the three islands, the wind in Aruba is apparently the strongest and most persistent, and I have to say that was my experience as well, that the wind was stronger in Oranjestad. You can imagine how hot it would actually be if these trade winds didn't blow over the island. 30 degrees all year round. with a lowest temperature ever recorded in 1925, it was, of 19 degrees Celsius. 19 degrees Celsius is a lovely summer's day in England, let me tell you. So on its surface, at least, this is paradise for many. You can see the Dutch style buildings here as well, which will be very prominent. And yeah, you've got the flamingo theme as well throughout Bonaire. And yeah, just amazing actually, you know. Just look at the dry area, the dry streets here in terms of the plants and the vegetation. Here, look at the cactus there, and literally just the street behind there, that's where the Caribbean Sea was, the absolutely crystal clear Caribbean waters. So the juxtaposition of a dry climate and dry vegetation with the crystal clear Caribbean waters on the other side. And here we're passing the Divvy Flamingo, and I'll give you some more information about the Divvy Flamingo in due course, because there's a bit of interesting history associated with it. But yeah, just another shot here of some residential buildings. Tropical travel with a flamingo there on the back. There's a lot of flamingos here in Bonaire, and not just in the wild. Painted on buses and signs, etc. Flamingo spirit. I do see a lot of cars as well here in Bonaire. I've seen a few tourists taking different types of transport though, like scooters and the odd bicycle here and there. Yeah, lots of cars and the odd truck here and there. So maybe a sign of the expanding island in terms of infrastructure. Here we got a supermarket. I just want to get an idea of the prices here on the island. So I mean, the ABC Islands aren't the cheapest of destinations, but let's check it out. Big coffee mate, $11.25, that's in US dollars. Cappuccinos there, $5.95. Pringles, $3, $3.50 for different flavor. Wow, Doritos, $4.75. Toothbrushes, $2.25. Aloe vera drink, $2.25. Combination pliers, $8.50. Yeah, so that's what things cost here. I suppose I've seen more expensive in other parts of the world, and I think certainly some products might even be comparable to what you pay in the UK. But the Doritos did seem a little bit pricey, didn't it? I wonder why that is. Maybe they really like Doritos here in Bonaire, so the demand is out of control. Looks like this bus had a good party, but it never quite recovered from its hangover. Yeah, I have to say that this yellowish orange mustard color is very popular so far. Certainly different shades of yellow are popular. Hello. And maybe the graffiti skills are lacking as well, a little bit. And here we go, another shot here of the Caribbean Sea. Yo, check this out, it almost feels like my own private pier. Proverbial red carpet made of wood. Right, I think it's time for a quick dip here in the Caribbean. Oh, the water is nice. Oh, here goes. Oof. Very refreshing and a little bit colder than I expected it to be here. So the water here is not nearly as cold as the Atlantic Ocean, say in Lambert's Bay, but generally here in the Caribbean, or at least in Curaçao and certainly in Aruba, I found it was quite warm. But here it is actually quite refreshing. Others are hard at work. Do I feel a little bit guilty? Nah, not really. I think this dip is just what I needed. So let's go and explore a little bit more of Kralendijk. And look, my own private bench here in Bonaire, here in Kralendijk. I'm becoming a VIP here in this part of the world. Gosh, you just have to love the colors and the sky. More trucks and mustard yellow buildings. And another key difference between Bonaire and Aruba and Curaçao, actually a very important difference, is that Bonaire is not an autonomous country within the Kingdom of the Netherlands. It is a special municipality. So Bonaire is fully integrated into the administrative and political structures of the Netherlands. And it also left the Netherlands Antilles in 2010. Obviously the Antilles dissolved in 2010. And we learned in Aruba that they left earlier, they left in 1986. But Curaçao and Bonaire both left in 2010. More visible evidence of the Dutch influence in the island, in the architecture. And we're starting to see more restaurants and coffee shops and boutique shops, which means we're probably not too far from the town centre. Yeah, more trucks, more people hard at work. But trucks and the ever-expanding infrastructure development aside, can you feel the slower pace of life here in Bonaire compared to Aruba and Curaçao? I certainly can. Here we start to see a little bit more use of colour. Teal and purplish pink, or flamingo pink rather. Yeah, a little bit of blue amongst the mustard yellow. And more blue amongst the mustard yellow. Ah yes, and here we've got Fort Oranje, which was built by the Dutch in 1639 to help protect the island. You can see it's still got some big cannons on display here. Here is a fascinating fact about the cannons here at Fort Oranje. They are actually British and not Dutch. So when the British invaded Bonaire in the early 19th century during the Napoleonic Wars, they replaced the Dutch cannons with their own cannons. The ones you can see here. But obviously living on an island in the early 19th century, it was very difficult to dispose of stuff, including cannons that you've just replaced. So they had to find an alternative use for some of the cannons. And they did. Some of the old Dutch cannons are now used as moorings. Isn't that fantastic? So here you've got the flag of Bonaire waving proudly, or well, it's not very windy at the moment. So for one time I want it to be windy. It's not really, because I want to explain the flag to you. Guys, here you can see the flag of Bonaire next to the flag of the Netherlands. And you can see it's got yellow, white, blue and a 6-pointed red star. And then also a black compass with 4 points around the 6-pointed red star. So the blue is actually very important. You can see that it takes up half of a flag. It takes up half of a flag, which shows the significance that Bonaire attaches to the color blue. Blue is the color of the Caribbean Sea, where they get their drinking water from. Then you've got the yellow representing the sun, and also the flowers of the Kibrahacha tree. I hope I've pronounced that correct. Kibrahacha tree and the cactus flowers. So I've heard the white represents the sky, in contrast to the blue, which you'll see on other flags such as Curaçao, for example. the sky, but also peace and internationalism. The black compass. The black compass represents Bonaire as a seafaring people, and you'll see there's 4 arrows as well representing the main parts, the 4 cardinal directions of a compass. And it symbolizes that people from the north, the south, the west and the east are all equal. Then you've got the red, the 6-pointed star. So the 6-pointed star there refers to the 6 original villages of the island, but also red is the color of blood, and it symbolizes the survivability of the people of Bonaire. What a wonderful flag. Heading into the center now, I can immediately see a lot more activity. More coffee shops at the back, more umbrellas. Yes, here we go. And check out Flamingo Express, Dutch Caribbean Post Office. International letters in there, and the local letters in there. And we've arrived here at Wilhelmina Plain. So Wilhelmina was a reference as well in Aruba and in Curaçao. There was a Wilhelmina Plain in those places too, and it's right next to the Verenigde Protestantse Gemeente here in Bonaire. So a church, and you can see the plain here, or the square, has several trees, which I'm sure comes in handy when it's very hot, as these pigeons have found out as well. And very quiet. Little stand there where you can dance or sing or hold speeches. And there you can see Bonaire. It's in our nature. It's in our nature. A beautiful island. So I will ask again, can you feel the difference in the pace of life here in Bonaire, in Kralendijk, compared to Oranjestad in Aruba and Willemstad in Curaçao? I don't know about you, but I certainly can. A bit of Cuba here in Bonaire, and here we've got a memorial. 1634 to 1934, ter herinnering aan het 300-jarig Nederlands gezag. So 300 years of Dutch rule. And there you've got the reference to Johannes van Walbeek, who arrived here on 26 July 1634. The Dutch West Indian Company looking for salt and finding it here in Bonaire. The harvesting of salt, production of salt. And over here as well, you got a memorial plaque in honor of Eleanor Roosevelt. Oh wow, for her first visit to Bonaire on March 21, 1944, while inspecting the American and Dutch armies in the Second World War. Representing her husband, the President of the United States of America, Mr. Franklin Roosevelt. The people of Bonaire will always remember her in their prayers. Fantastic. So Eleanor Roosevelt, First Lady of the United States. And yeah, there is not a lot of stuff going on here in terms of people traffic. I've seen a few people around, but it also feels like I'm the only tourist or visitor here at this point. Maybe others are still recovering from their hangover in the resorts. Others are doing snorkeling and diving. And I am here admiring the mustard yellow architecture and painted buildings. Yeah, there you go. Maybe a sign that people are recovering from a big night out. And what have we got here? So Bonaire Lions Club time capsule. Oh wow. A time capsule. Wow, this monument founded in 2002 to commemorate the 40th anniversary of the Bonaire Lions Club. Check this out. Contains a time capsule with letters and contemporary articles which will be open in 2042. Wow, I should come back in 2042 just for that, I think. And yeah, you've got what looks like a town center. So yeah, nothing against the use of mustard yellow, but I do love a variety of colors, and I think I found them here in this street here in Bonaire. So let's check it out. There seems to be a main shopping street, the Captain's Table restaurant, and here you've got a reference to the salt in Bonaire, salt shop, blue sea salt. There you go, relaxing bath salts, flamingo murals here. Bon dia, hello. What are you building?
We fix something.
Oh, fix something. There's a lot of construction in Bonaire, yes. Hello sir, how are you?
Very good.
Very good.
How do you know?
How do I know? Now I see lots of trucks and things, and yeah, that's good. Best of luck guys, thank you. Different types of color here in Kralendijk. Vada was with a beautiful bicycle. Wow, this is the boerkaap of Kralendijk right here. Look at this. And the flamingos represented there at the top as well. The most color I've seen here in Bonaire so far. And the most noise I've heard in Bonaire so far. Yeah, just checking out some more buildings here. Some have got some interesting balconies built into the walls there. So quite unusual. And here you've got some more souvenir shops and garments for a tenner, $10. And some cafes. Service Droogest Bonaire. Yeah, just check. I do like these windows. And obviously I do love the colors as well. Harbour side, so looks to be a bit of a mall. Let's check it out. Yeah, clothes shops. Over there. Check this out. So I must be a mermaid. I have no fear of death and a great fear of shallow living. I think so. I think that's me. Maybe I'm a mermaid. And here we go. Flamingos. Flip-flop shops. Over here. Look at this. Beware of the piranhas. Piranhas ahead. Piranha Joe. And check this out on the other side of a mall or the shopping area. More magic of the Caribbean. Restaurants overlooking the Caribbean Sea, and combined with some Dutch style architecture. And look, you can take a water taxi to Klein Bonaire every hour. $25 round trip. And check this out. I love Karels, written in the colors of the flag of Bonaire. Yeah, another shot there of Klein Bonaire over there. And Looks like they're building a new restaurant here. More apartments up and busy being constructed. Scooters and Dutch bike rentals. Yes, scooters seem to be a very popular way of getting around the island. And as Miguel explained to us in another vlog, there doesn't seem to be a lot of buses necessarily taking you to different parts of the island, so it makes sense to hire a scooter if you're here. So keep that in mind when you come to Bonaire. But gosh, with water like this, I have to be honest, as lovely as the scuba diving and the coral reefs will be, I think just chilling here in Kralendijk for a few days is absolutely fantastic as well. Exiting the shopping area on the other side, and here you've got the Diamond Gallery and Rolex, so the la-di-da area of Bonaire and the commercial hub. And yeah, there's a lot of development in Bonaire. I know I keep on repeating, but what that does signify to me is that the island will be experiencing more tourism, and they are experiencing more tourism, so they have to build more hotels and resorts to satisfy the demand. And I wonder what the local population feels about that. Obviously, on the one hand, the tourists bring in money, but on the other hand, the conservation of nature might be at risk. And certainly a trade-off to be made there, a decision to be made. How much does Bonaire want to expand? How much does it want to embrace tourism? The flamingo and the cactus, two prominent elements of nature here in the Dutch Caribbean. Check out this shopping trolley that they've converted into a chair. How clever is that? Let's get an idea of property prices here in Bonaire. So you've got a building plot, 144,000 US dollars, 2 bedrooms, 1 bathroom, $120,000. 1 bedroom, 1 bathroom, tropical landscaping, ample parking, a courtyard village, so 250,000 US dollars. And look at this, 4 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, modern kitchen, spacious covered terrace, 595,000 US dollars. So yes, to date, at least that's my understanding, Bonaire has not been as touristy as Aruba and Curaçao, but it's definitely picking up now. Absolutely picking up now. And check this out, coming soon to a theatre near you. Mamadou, original film from Bonaire. Check this flamingo built into the pavement here, with rocks and stones. Very clever. Hola Fashions, a complete family shop. And maybe it's because it's a smaller town, in fact a much smaller town than Oranjestad and Willemstad, but I've not seen as many clothes shops around here as in the other places. I've seen far more scooters, frankly. People enjoying the slow pace of life and the less commercial life. Oh, hang on, well, I say that and there's a subway. Lots of flamingo art. The ratio of flamingo art compared to other art here in Bonaire is quite high. I'll check this out. A fish and its fish bones. Penny Lane Fashion Exchange. Door handle with a hand that you push. Check out the one who's a friend of coffee is a friend of mine. Very much a flamingo theme here in Bonaire. The amount of flamingos compared to the number of people, I think there's a decent ratio. Hello sir, how are you?
I'm good, how are you?
Very good man. I'm very hot. I'm sweating and I need a smoothie to cool me down, yes.
You're at the right place.
Thank you sir. Yeah, I'm just stopping here for a smoothie. I'm going to have a pineapple strawberry. And yeah, much needed in this weather. Thank you very much my friend. Here we go. Strawberry and pineapple. $6 US. Oh, very refreshing and just what I needed. So you say you've got something local for me?
Yes, it's blood sausage
Okay. Oof.
from the cow.
Is it raw?
No, it's cooked.
Oh, is it cooked? Yeah. Okay, maybe just a little piece is
Do
okay.
you like spicy?
No, not too spicy.
Not too
Yes.
spicy.
Yeah. Thank you.
You should try it with this.
What is that? Like a mustard?
This is our homemade hot sauce, but it's more flavorful than it's hot.
Okay. Yes. Yeah. Oh. Well, yeah. Let's go. Thank you very much.
Can make a video with one slice.
Okay. Thank you very much. What is your name?
My name is Patricia.
Patricia. And you?
I'm Dion.
Dion. I'm Willy. Nice to meet you
Nice
guys.
to
Yes.
meet you.
Thank you. So this blood sausage is from Bonaire.
From Curaçao, Aruba, all three islands.
From all three islands, yes. Look at that. Well, I'm a little bit nervous. Let's have a taste. It's definitely, it's not as rough as a black pudding. It's a little bit softer, I think.
That's right. But tastes good?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I
Did you try the sauce?
don't know if I like it. The sauce is nice, yeah. The sauce is, I can definitely taste a bit of spiciness to it. Definitely a softer texture than the black pudding. And a lot smoother. And the papaya sauce over it is quite interesting as well. It gives it a sweet flavor. So thank you very much, Patricia. Yeah, just got myself a map here at the Bonaire tourist information. Here you've got a map of Bonaire, and that is where Kralendijk is, where we are at the moment. Islands in the Caribbean with the Dutch heritage, Aruba, Curaçao, Bonaire. So the ACB, and then you got the Saba, Eustatius and St. Martin. So Aruba, Curaçao and Bonaire, they are part of the Leeward Islands, and then you got Saba, Eustatius and St. Martin, part of the Windward Islands. So in a different part of the Caribbean, but sharing Dutch history. And here we have a monument dedicated to Gilberto Beticu Cruz. Beticu Cruz. And you would have heard me talk about him in my Aruba vlogs, the iconic political figure in Aruban history. He went into the coma on the 31st of December 1985, the day before Aruba left the Netherlands Antilles. He was never conscious to see the fruits of his labor, what he fought for during the 70s and 80s. He passed away 26 November 1986. The liberator of Aruba, he's honored here with a monument in its sister island, Bonaire. And right here opposite the monument of Beticu Cruz, over there, you've got the football stadium. When I mentioned to you in previous vlogs that I won the World Cup with the Netherlands Antilles in FIFA 98, I think this is where the after party must have been. Here is a monument or a statue of Simon Bolivar, the famous Venezuelan politician, the liberator. Yeah, I don't think this place is in business anymore, judging by the windows. It does still have a lovely mural outside though. So guys, I went into the tourist office earlier and I actually heard a very practical explanation for why the mustard yellow color is very popular. certainly with the more government or official buildings. And the person at the tourist office explained to me that because Bonaire is a very dry island and a very dusty island, the buildings get dirty pretty quickly. So you can imagine the white paint in particular will get very dirty. But because they use mustard yellow, the dust or the dirt that gets blown on the walls aren't very visible. So the mustard yellow color is just a very practical color to not make the buildings look too dirty. And the more I think about it, it makes a lot of sense. So what will I take away from my trip here in Bonaire, but also Aruba and Curaçao? Bear in mind that I've only seen limited parts of these islands, but I'll definitely remember the colorful architecture. I'll certainly remember the dry climate, because it wasn't very easy to vlog. But then again, it was so nice to just go and dip in the Caribbean Sea afterwards and refresh myself. I'll definitely remember the pristine beaches and crystal clear Caribbean Sea. I'll also remember, as you can hear in the background, people working. I'll remember the development and the infrastructure development in particular here in the Dutch Caribbean. The hard-working spirit of the people. And I'll remember, of course, the people that I've met on my travels as well here. Some interesting characters. I'll remember some of the food I've had as well in various parts. Certainly the pastéis. And I'll remember the conch I had in Curaçao. And just now as well, the blood sausage here in Bonaire. And did I mention I'll miss the colourful architecture? Right guys, it's around about 6 o'clock in the evening, so I took a little bit of a break from vlogging, but I am here at the Divi Flamingo Beach Resort and Casino. And if you're a military history buff, you're gonna love this information I'm gonna share with you now. So on the 10th of May 1940, Germany invaded the Netherlands, and this resort and hotel and casino where we are now, this was the site of the first internment camp here in Bonaire. So this was where the Germans and the Austrians living in Bonaire were sent because they were distrusted. Today, as you can see though, it is a beautiful hotel and casino complex. And again, wow, it must just be lovely living here or coming here on holiday or vacation. And the interesting thing about the ABC Islands as well during the Second World War is that they supplied a lot of the fuel for the Allied forces. And I've read about sort of 70% of all the fuel that was provided to the Allied forces came from Aruba and Curaçao. Now the interesting thing about the oil refineries, the Germans became very interested in it as well. They wanted to disrupt the fuel supply to the Allied forces. And so they started attacking the oil refineries in Aruba and Curaçao with the U-boats. And especially the United States became more involved in protecting the ABC Islands. The US installed a radar base at Tanquimaraka, I think that's how you pronounce it, here in Bonaire, to help identify any threats to Curaçao and Aruba. The US built Flamingo Airport originally as an Air Force base, and after Second World War, of course, Flamingo Airport became a passenger terminal, a passenger airport. That is the contribution that the United States in particular made, protecting the ABC Islands and obviously the fuel supply or the oil refineries in Aruba and Curaçao, using Bonaire as a base to warn those islands of any threats. Quite an interesting bit of military history. Guys, check out this absolutely humongous tree. Yeah. This tree is a West Indian birchwood and a sign that says "Watch your head." Yeah, so I've already bumped my head on a pitot tube of a plane. I don't want to bump my head here on a tree. It's my hand there for comparison. And over here as well. You can see just how huge it is. Absolutely spectacular. And paradise around the corner here. Flamingo Casino. Ah yes, this is where we were earlier today. And just giving you a shot there of the Dutch Caribbean during sunset. The golden hours. And one of those wooden umbrellas with the palm leaves. I will remember them as well. And I think I've deserved a little spot here for a bit of a dip. Right, time for a sunset dip in the Caribbean. Simply amazing. Simply amazing. And as the sun sets here in the Caribbean, in the island of Bonaire, I can't think of a more perfect moment to end the vlog. I hope you enjoyed this tour of Kralendijk, the capital of Bonaire. If you haven't done it yet, please hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and leave a comment for me in the comment section. Thanks again, guys, and I'll see you again soon. Cheers.